Welcome, everybody, to the Journeymen Lounge podcast.
You better be praying to God because, you're 14 and losses in a row. You're going to need Jesus.
Am I wrong?
I thought you were pretty wrong, yeah.
All right. The Journeymen Lounge podcast is back in action, part 2. 119, part 2. So, first part, we did a little bit of football, the Bears. Check that shit out. Coming into fucking... Rams are coming into Chicago looking for an ass whooping. I'm hoping the Bears can give it to them. But this is one thing I think in the general zeitgeist of 2026, 25.
Sure.
We're going to talk Stranger Things here because Stranger
Season
Things
5.
just wrapped on the series finale of this 9-year journey started in 2016, 9 years and change. And I mean, it's Netflix's like baby. It's like the thing that got them the most notoriety, most views, probably most viewed show in the fucking world in terms
Wednesday
of airtime
Addams
or
did a
some
good
shit.
job, too.
I'm saying for the 9 years, like
Sure,
the amount
fair.
of views, and Netflix like really started kicking off in 2015.
It's their
16.
staple show.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, with that being said, I thought that we should.
Flagship.
I thought
That's
flagship.
nice.
There you go.
I couldn't think of the word. Like something with a ship. I couldn't there.
Something with a ship.
I was like battleship. That's not right.
It was an old wooden
I
ship.
believe an old wooden ship.
So, with this, I thought that we should talk about
Sure.
mainly the 5th season.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we'll jump around, jump back, and all that stuff as we talk about it here. But it's mainly the review of the final episode of a series in general, because I got some questions about series finales that like what does it for you, what doesn't.
You had questions
do it for
in
you.
the text.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over those, but in terms of, I wanted to get your guys like kind of like experience in fandom of Stranger Things. Like for me, I'll just start. I was a day one, like early on beginnings of streaming, had Stranger Things going, and I, remember the old ass logo in the corner, watching on my iPad, like holy fuck, man, like. Okay,
We're dating
this
ourselves
is
a little
the
bit, yeah.
start of, but it's the start
Yeah,
of the
it's the start of
series.
something good.
Like it came out, started it then, and I've been a fan ever since. Ryan, what do you got?
Day one. I remember within the first week when it came out, like it being like one of the ones they pin or whatever. Like hey, check this out, and I was like, this seems interesting. And then I've heard like maybe a few days into it, a couple rumblings of people like, hey, you gotta check this Stranger Things out. It's pretty cool. I'm like, I already was planning on it anyway. I'm like, all right, let's pop it on, and like blown away by it. Thought it was an instant hit. Like just like honestly, kind of almost like a perfect show. Like the first season is like that good.
It really
Where
is.
it hits on all levels of nostalgia and character and writing and suspense and mystery and all the awesome like 80s like callbacks and everything.
I love that the 80s theme was done well.
And even like the score and the beginning credits of the show just really set the tone where I'm like every time you watch it, like, oh shit, like what the hell's
It
gonna
puts you
happen?
in that, like, that trance,
you
that
wanna,
mood.
Like it's like mysterious, like, and like when we don't, especially in the first season when you don't know about the Upside Down and the world and 11,
Right,
you're
it's all
learning
new.
about it. It's like you're like getting a piece of a puzzle every time you watch an episode and like trying to put it together.
Well said.
Ryan, what do you? I'm sorry, Ryan. You're Ryan. Hello,
Hi.
Bobby. What do you have as your day one, or did you pick it up along the way?
No, we picked it up. Amber and I watched this from season 1. We've been dating for some time now,
Nice.
but yeah, love this show. And like he said, it all culminates on itself. It adds layers, and then this 5th season, we're gonna get into it. And not to say that there isn't. Yeah, right. Sorry.
Let's just
I'm
keep
gonna
it
pump
with
the brakes.
what, day one or
day
not.
one,
That's what we want to
It
do.
intrigued me. It captured. It captivated. Great show.
Let's just go with that first.
Yep.
Now let's get into.
You're right. I'm jumping.
I'm just gonna throw out like a fucking one goddamn second elevator pitch. Is that in Hawkins, Indiana, there is some governmental experiments going on, and these boys kind of just interact with that throughout the whole thing, leading to alternate dimension in the very end, and as well as monsters and scary shit and all that stuff. So I'm just going to leave it as a blanket statement. If you haven't watched Stranger Things, I would still highly recommend it. I think it's a great show, albeit with the fifth season that we're really going to get into here. So I would go like the do we want to do a recap of just kind of like 10-second pitches of like what happened in these episodes leading up to it, or do we just want to get kind of into like more of the finale and like the last
we should do
couple?
A little.
Okay.
Who wants to?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Run us through. Quick
so
summary.
the fifth season. So I'm assuming you've seen all 4 seasons.
Sorry. Let's
Spoiler alert.
Let's give the last episode part of the 4th season as like they're getting back to Hawkins. What's happening there?
So 11 was in Colorado or whatever in the tank. She was helping Max from afar and thing, and like
California,
whatever. And I think they were in Nevada, but whatever. Either way, they were going.
We're both wrong. How about that?
Probably. So they and Max and the rest of the crew, Steve and Robin and Nancy, their plan was to infiltrate Vecna's lair in the Upside Down, and like Molotov cocktail him and shoot him and like take him down and whatnot. And there's some stuff going on while that's happening on the outside where with Lucas and this jock guy and all these other things. Anyway, it ends with them. They think they've killed Vecna, or he at least is away or whatever. But the episode ends. They think everything's all solved and good, but the Upside Down has now cracked open into the regular Earth, into Hawkins, in 4 different distinct sections, I guess, if you will, or whatever, where literally like the Upside Down is merged, like cracks into.
Yeah, it's an X marks the spot kind of situation. So
when we saw that ending, at least when I did, I'm gonna say, I was like, holy shit! Like this feels almost like a series ending type of thing, or it's gonna set up some crazy shit for the next season, right? Because of the way it ended, it was like, holy shit, the Earth literally has opened up, and what are they going to do to, or like, are there going to be monsters on, just roaming around? What's going to happen, and
yeah, I would jump on board with that, saying like there was definitely an anticipation that there was going to be all out chaos, because now you have the very firm, like before there were just these little small portals, a Demogorgon or Demobad or whatever could just get through just enough. And now it's like full on like 7-foot wide.
They can manipulate them on command.
Alleys that are open now.
Before, I'm saying very specific. Before there was only one gate, and now there's like
multiple.
Tons of.
And there's some kind of weirdness around that, because like there's a gate, but technically anytime somebody pierced through into the other side, that's technically a gate as well.
That's true. There was one known gate. And a couple random ones where a Demogorgon might spout out from, or something like that.
So I'm just saying, though, it led up to believe that, hey, there's like now bigger things can get through.
Every monster's going to come.
What can happen? Yeah. And now it also set it up with, I like the way in which like they kind of do superhero like stances, like frame shots, where it's like it's got everybody in the cast like, all right, now we're about to face off.
They're looking on from like this hill into the city, and you could just
everything's
see
a lot of cinematic
the destruction. Yes. Okay, so then that sets up
that's
season 5.
That's the end of now. Go season 5.
So season 5. They kind of just brush over it. Like in the first episode, it's like, hey, remember all that stuff that happened? Yeah, it wasn't actually a big deal. Turns out the army came, and now it's like martial law.
Closed it off
in the town of Hawkins. And they just sealed all of the cracks, the upside down cracks, with like metal grates. And now the army's there trying to study. They're quarantining the town and study what's happening, and they're doing things in the upside down that the people of Hawkins don't know about. But like Woj said, like setting it up the way they did the end of the season to kind of just like gloss over it almost, and like basically Robin just explains it on her radio broadcast, which she's now doing. And also it's what, a year and a half later or something. Or
I don't mind so much that transition. I wish they would have given a little bit more effort towards it, but I don't mind that they had to bring that forward.
It's like because the other one was in March of '86. This is November of '87. So yeah, it's like.
Right, and then they fast forward again.
Yeah, so it's like a year and a half later.
So yes, they gloss over the fact that there has been a massive breach. Media posed it as an earthquake that happened, because there's obviously cataclysmic, different buildings fell.
Seismic activity.
Seismic activity.
There it is.
So they posed it as this, which has been a common theme, is that the government media
yeah.
is all covering up all the actual things that are happening in Hawkins. And then as you go through, you find, which I want to point out, was that the final kill of Vecna in episode 4 was a multi-tiered attack that put Vecna on his ass. They were fighting him in his mind as well as, or distracting him in his mind more, and then trying to terminate the physical body.
Yeah.
And the way that like they left that, I was always gearing up for like, okay, obviously they leave it as Vecna is still alive. Now you have to like figure out what's the next step, how you're gonna do all those things, and the way in which they're like needing to now find him. I love that initial theme of the first couple episodes. Yeah, they were like, we can't find him. Where the fuck is he?
They have the war just alluding to that. They have a plan. They go like grid by grid. They have like a grid of the town. And they meet in secret at the radio station. They have like a little underground lair, kind of like a Batman behind the bookcase thing. Layer.
And they're using the radio broadcast
Hopper,
as
which also imagine Hopper and 11. 11 is wanted by the military as a person of interest or a suspect.
Dr. K.
Who's played by Linda
more than
Hamilton.
a person of interest. They're like bringing her ass
she thinks
in.
she's the enemy, basically. And Hopper also is in hiding because he's supposed to be like dead or whatever.
Hopper is dead.
Yeah,
he was killed in
season 3.
He was killed in the mall fire in season 3.
Right, so everybody thinks he's dead. So they're underground. They're hiding, and they're trying to. They're also like training her for when they ultimately find Vecna and we'll have to encounter him or whatever. So like they're going like section by section. Whenever Murray brings in like contraband,
supplies,
and he gets like somehow he gets the army
schedule,
or whatever. I don't know how.
He might have an inside.
They don't really say. Yeah. But anyway, so they know when to try and do these crawls, they call them, and they're trying to find Vecna.
And they're also using the tunnel system that was used in season 2.
Yeah.
To travel throughout
sweeps.
Hawkins without being detected.
Steve, Robin, Nancy, Jonathan, Mrs. Byers, Hopper, Levin, Mike, all the crew, Dustin, they're all working together to do this. And so the first episode, some things go awry or whatever. And I don't know how far do we skip ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, let's just go like plot points of the first the episode by episode.
So they find at the end of the first episode that the demo things are going after Mike's sister Holly in the Upside Down. They're heading toward their house, so they're going to really come there in real life and try and do something.
Right. Will has this connection of the spy as he's had in the previous ones.
Yeah, the hive mind. Will is connected to the hive mind.
So he can continue to see where the Demogorgons are going. They're targeting Holly Wheeler.
Yes, and they find out at the end of the episode that the things are going after her, and that is fucking awesome by the beginning of the second episode where they have the Demogorgons in the Wheeler house and Mrs. Wheeler's
that was an awesome
trying to save her daughter and Mr. Wheeler and the whole thing. And
Mr. Wheeler looked like a pussy with a 7-iron. Like, sorry, they ain't gonna do it.
She had to set up the wine
Please
bottle.
grab a driver.
And then so then 11 winds up going in the Upside Down, finds Hopper, and now they're looking for Holly, and the people on the outside are trying to figure out how they're going to find Holly. They don't know what to do. Eventually they figure out that through Will's hive mind that he knows, or suspects, I should say, that Vecna is targeting children, and the next target is his kid Derek.
Right.
So they're going to set up a trap in Derek's house to draw out the demo to tag him
with the
GPS tracker so they can follow him in and hopefully lead him back to Holly.
Right.
And they have this whole plan they do in their house. They get to kidnap the family. And again, and then that doesn't really. It actually does work out. They do track.
It works
them.
out to a point where they
track them, and then more people are going into the Upside Down.
But now without a solid plan, that's the problem.
Steve, Dustin, Jonathan, Nancy just drive Steve's car through the gate.
Very
that was
cavalier.
Created by the demo that was on the outside going back in. Now they're in the Upside Down and
Sorcerer.
Yes, and then and then they have this plan where they figure out that he's targeting certain kids and which kids they are. They use Derek to figure that out. Like Intel infiltrates the army camp where they're holding the children of the town.
They start rounding up the children. It's not really mentioned why the military is doing that, but
I think they're doing the same thing. They're doing it to also set a trap to lure either 11 or the demos or whatever.
Either way, so they set up the trap, and then basically it comes to I would call it a head of now you have Vecna revealing himself coming through the gates
Oh,
with
yeah.
the Demogorgons.
With some confidence.
This is we should mention. This is while they're doing their escape plan, which is like the Great Escape or whatever. Like they have underground tunnels in the bathroom, and they're
Tom, Dick, and Harry.
they're getting the kids through it. And it's not going smoothly because the pipe broke, and there's like tension, and so eventually like Joyce, Mike, Will, and they're like caught by the army, and they like what's going to happen, and then that's when Vecna reveals himself. Or I think the demos actually reveal
I'm sorry,
first.
demos first.
Three
maybe.
demos.
And then Vecna comes.
Then
through
Vecna comes,
eventually.
and
then
the demos are grabbing all the kids that they
and
thought
Mike taps in.
they had escaped and whatever, and the demos are about to take out Mike and Robin and Lucas all at different times, and Will figures out that he can control them. He goes taps into Vecna's mind, which he can tap into the demo's minds.
And he has the connection because of the hive mind, because he was infected in season 1.
Yes.
And
so he kills,
is able to kill them in the very same way that Vecna did, breaking bones,
snapping their necks,
which I'll bring up.
Which
a
was
point
pretty
of that
badass.
Later. I'll bring up a point.
That was
of
a really
later.
cool scene. Yes.
And that's the end of part 1 of the last season, basically.
Okay.
Shock
jock.
Yeah, part 2, which was we find out like
Max is
alive in
his thoughts,
in the world that Holly's in, which we don't really know what.
We don't know where that's at,
but
right.
it's like it's Henry's old house, but it's like
Inception.
But it's nice,
It could technically be part of Henry and the hive mind.
Well, it's Henry's mind or their minds, but we don't know like exactly.
It's in
at
a
the
dream.
time.
It's like Inception's a great movie.
It is like Inception. Yeah,
it's Inception.
It's kind of, to me, I feel like it's kind of this thing that Vecna has created that everybody can tap into once they're connected to the hive mind.
So Max is, gets a hold of Holly, like lures her into the woods, and then tells her like, "Hey, this Henry guy is actually a danger. He's the one who's the monster. Blah blah blah. Like, but with your help, we can escape and get to the real world." And then they try to, and Henry or Vecna actually almost gets there or has them, and then Will taps in again. They figure out how to like electrocute these demo things to reawaken, like Frankenstein.
Yeah,
and
very much so. Yeah,
tap into the hive mind again. He stops Vecna from killing Max and like breaks his leg and like releases Max, and he's like, "Go, leave! You can hear me. Go now," or whatever, and then. Temporarily saves them. They run back into this. Actually, I mentioned in Vecna's mind thing. There's like this cave that he won't go into.
Right,
because
he's terrified.
It's all about memories.
He has a terrified memory where something happened where he won't. It's the only place where they're safe, where there's a sanctuary.
Because he doesn't want to revisit.
And then anyway, all the kids eventually wind up in the house. They all get taken because of the demos, and they all get hooked up to the mind flare hose shit.
Whatever it is that Vecna was trying to do, he got all of the kids. He got them.
Yeah, so Max and Holly still have this plan to get away. Eventually they figure out a way through the memories to escape. Max gets out, and it's this cool, really good like Jurassic Park scene where Lucas is carrying her body to the hospital, and Robin and her girlfriend trying to help out, and very reminiscent of the
Demogorgons are trying
the
to kill
kids in
them.
Jurassic, the raptors in Jurassic Park.
Good homage.
Yeah, and then she wakes up, and that's like an emotional thing. And Holly wakes up, but she wakes up into the abyss as we know it now. We didn't know at the time, but it's called the abyss, which is another dimension.
It is called Dimension X, or referred to as Dimension X, which, as we learn, even though it's later in the season, the Upside Down is technically a bridge to the abyss.
It's like theoretical physics in real life. It's awesome. Two worlds exist.
Apparently, the Upside Down is a wormhole.
Yep.
Hooks that connects the abyss to the regular world.
Yep.
Sure. Right. That's it. So anyway, eventually they figure out that Vecna is alive, obviously, and he's been in the abyss, and they got to figure out a way to get into the abyss to take down Vecna, to hopefully rescue Holly and rescue the kids.
And I will say that Holly almost gets back to the Upside Down, to Nancy and Steve and all them, who are now back at Hawkins' lab. Yes. Dustin is getting the info on all Dr. Brenner's all old notes and things like that, explaining how the abyss is connected and all this shit. Yeah. And then Holly almost comes back, gets sucked back by Vecna, basically. Now he has all of the kids. They are all hooked up in the way that he needs, because he is now, they find out what he's doing is he's basically merging the worlds.
We also should have mentioned, too, that in the army, they have an army base in the Upside Down that they were holding 11's sister, Callie, number 8. believe.
Yes, number 8.
She has like the power to like make mirages, illusions
Illusions.
and things. So she's with the group now, and then anyway, they have this final plan going into the thing. But before that, Will comes out that he's gay. It was like a big scene for the
Big
show.
reveal.
I mean, we all
I'm not
knew
a big
it.
fan
And then
of
we
you know,
will,
incorporating that.
No,
kind
we'll
of crap.
get into
Okay,
that
we'll
more.
get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we basically then they devise the plan of they need to go rescue the children now in the abyss. There is this dark matter that is above Hawkins, though, that is a central point that they basically understand. Like, the plan is to, I'm not jumping too much here, but the plan is to basically fight Vecna again in the mind. In their mind,
Yes.
with Will, 11, Will, and Kali all piggybacking into 11's mind. And then from there, they're distracting him while, again, this is basically the same plot from season 4. They're going to go attack him in the mind and then kill
Destroy the body,
physical body in the abyss.
Yeah, and then
And then separate the worlds.
They get up to the abyss. Steve
ahead.
almost dies. Jonathan catches him. They get like called through the radio tower in the Upside Down into the abyss, and then they realize that the thing that is like Vecna's lair is actually the Mind Flare, and it's like a giant
Well, we can
monster.
assume.
Well,
We don't get a whole lot of.
Well, it is when he comes alive. The thing is a Mind Flare.
We don't get.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
We don't get confirmation of a lot of stuff in the last season of what is.
But we
what.
could assume
it's comparative to season 3. Yes,
No,
but
it's
we
the
don't.
Mind Flare. It is.
But we don't know what the Mind Flare actually is.
That's
is what I'm
That's
saying.
what it is. It's confirmed. They said it.
Exposition is lacking in the season 5 to say what that Mind Flayer is. More context on the Mind Flayer. I just put it as that.
What else would it
Moving on.
be?
I'm just saying that it's not as much context of exactly what is. You got the backstory of Vecna, of who he is, what he is,
and,
how he is.
And he said that him and the Mind Flare they work together. They need each other.
Right, but
So
it's
they
still,
have a
it's
symbiotic
still
relationship
it's
like
still
Venom.
extremely vague. It's not where did the mind. In season 4, you found out who was Vecna. You found out
His
how
name's
he
Henry.
became Vecna, and then you also found out what he is trying to do. The Mind Flayer, you only get where it's been appearing and how it's connected to this, but you don't get where did it come from. He says, I think, in one point, like, it may be due to an old.
I'm not saying we
ancient-
know where it comes from. I'm just saying that thing.
Yeah, it's not
in
an
the
origin
end, is
question.
the Mind Flare.
I agree. I agree with that.
The kaiju or
All
whatever.
I'm just saying though is that again we don't know so
It's
much
like the
more
crack
about
into
that.
Davy Jones.
There's a lot of
right. Is
holes
that a good
I
one?
see that.
It's a crack into
So anyway,
Davy Jones.
the Mind Flare is in the abyss. It comes alive. And look, you think it's like this like pod thing, but then it's the Mind Flare. Henry's in the Mind Flare. All the kids are in there. Somehow, we'll get into it more. Somehow they get up this cliff and start attacking the Mind Flare while 11 opens up a gap to get into it and starts fighting Vecna inside the Mind Flare. Takes him down pretty fast. And then they have this scene where they're all inside the Mind Flare and Joyce finally hacks off Vecna's head multiple times. And you get like flashes of all the people that have been affected by Vecna / the Mind Flare have died or whatever.
She chopped that wood.
Then there's a 45-minute epilogue which shows our characters and what happened. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm skipping over actually. Hold on, I forgot. Before they did, they're on their way back, and then the army's waiting for them. They blow up the upside down.
They separate the worlds, yeah.
And to crash both worlds or whatever. The army's waiting for them, and they think, they're going to be arrested or whatever.
Yeah.
And then 11 is somehow in the gate,
but remains there.
and then she is a mind thing with Mike, where she's like basically saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna sacrifice myself and
because they would use
tell
her again for some other
everybody,
military
tell everybody
experiment.
goodbye and whatever." And then she is assumed at the time to have blown up in the Upside Down.
Yep.
Then they have the epilogue, which is like 45 minutes long. It's 2 years later, or whatever, year and a half, when they're graduating in '89. From high school. You see Dustin's valedictorian. He does what Eddie was going to do. Gives the principal the middle finger, takes the diploma. Will, Mike, Dustin, Max, and they're all like together. And then they're playing D&D like in the first episode. And they have like a thing where they say like what happened, what do you think happened with 11? Did she escape? Was it an illusion? That whole thing.
Right.
And it kind of
leaves it very
ends on an open note where they
Mm-hmm.
believe that she's still alive, but depending on what you believe, she might not be. And then like kind of a passing of the torch to his sister and all them, where they're now playing D&D, and it's kind of like a callback to the first episode of the first season.
Yeah, full swing.
Am I missing anything?
No, you did a good job.
No, I think you're good. I didn't want to. I mean, we went pretty good. Quick overview of what happened because
all the hits.
Again, we're gonna try and piece back together throughout the season and the series and stuff like that as we get into kind of the questions about the finale. But I just want to point out though that the way in which the finale of a series kind of goes is I think there's a lot of anticipation building up into it. As we obviously went through the seasons, like it did do a good job of building eventually into like the final battle at, Vecna's lair. And how many quotations in this fucking episode? Probably like 80. But it did a good job of building in a way that finales, I think, do like just in general. Like you have to build up because they have to say, hey, this is the end. It's been known for a long time that like this was going to be the end all be all. And how was your guys? I don't want to get into specifics, but I just want to say like, did the finale like entertain you? Did you like watch it? It was a 2-hour finale, basically a movie. Did you guys leave that going like, oh wow, I was entertained or I was not entertained?
I was entertained mostly, but there was a lot of things they didn't clean up properly and left like that didn't make sense, which makes me not like it. Thinking back on it, the more I think back on it, like, and in the days and weeks to come, the less I like it. Like,
no, that's a fair assessment. I feel the same way.
They had 3 years to do this, and that they parceled them out where you had to wait a month and then a week and then another week. So, like you said, the anticipation was growing. I just think that there were too many convenient things that they glossed over that didn't make sense. Which, if you want me to get into, we can get into at another point. But
just initial thoughts, though. So you were left unamused.
I think that the epilogue was good. The last 45 minutes was a nice wrap up of like we get to see the future and like
I'm against that. I guess
I like that, but the final battle and all that underwhelming. Too quick. I have in my notes. Will's coming out was longer than the final battle, which is ridiculous. Like for a show that's supposed to, this is leading up to everything. This is like, Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame, and like it's like that was it. Like, and again, also the way in which they executed things, or which certain things happened, or wrapped up, or didn't wrap up, or it was like, well, why did this happen, or how did these people, or what this, and I get into it later, but like left me like, come on, like you guys can just do better. Like it's just like. But, was I entertained when I watched it at first? Yeah, sure. But, again, when I think upon it, it gets a lot of questions and kind of just – it's upsetting for a show that was so good for most of its runtime. First 4 seasons are all awesome. Even the 5th season is still awesome. But
parts of it, yeah.
But it just kind of just let me down. Like, it was just disappointing where it was like, this is an all-time show, but it didn't have an all-time ending like I would have liked.
I think I actually agree with you right there, is that I think the show was so good that I almost kind of looked past the ending. One, in the sense that I already knew in 2026, 2025, whatever the fuck you want to say, I think that the endings are always going to be leading up for spin-offs, sequels, prequels, as we do in the movie review. It just happens. It just happens that they want to capitalize on the Hollywood money-making aspect, the beast, and they will continue to do this. So I knew that there were going to be lead-offs or like leaving things in and stuff like that. The entertainment value compared to the first 4, which I would contend that every season finale of Stranger Things up until this point, I think I left it going like, cannot wait to watch this fucking next season. It cannot get here soon enough.
Absolutely.
And especially the anticipation of like how long this took. It took 2.5 years to produce the 5th season and get it edited and get it out. So I was like, for all this build up, all supposed to be leading up into like the end of the 4th season, where you're like, holy shit, this is going to be crazy. Battle of Hawkins should have been an episode title at some point.
Yeah.
And then the finale fell flat to me, but there's a multitude of reasons. Bobby, what's your initial take?
All right, to parallel you, I felt like you mentioned, the final confrontation. I don't know, man. I think you lost it there. You know, there was such a lackluster debut of these two powerhouses meeting to duel it out, and like you mentioned, you know, they glossed over certain things from 4 to 5, which, you know, albeit whatever, but maybe that's the problem. I guess I want to kind of dial this to more of a theoretical question. The fact that the first 4 seasons, call them gems, and
are you saying Jim or Gem?
I'm saying
Sorry,
gem.
yeah.
No, we're gems.
Yeah.
That we had this expectation that the 5th had to be even more. Like, is it like, I hate to say it, we almost have a bias in that sense, right?
Well, because Bobby, the 4th season, I would argue, is the second best season besides season 1, and I think it's very close to being on that level. And it ended on such a note, and it was so good that, and also like, even though season 2 isn't as good as the other one, it's still solid. It's still a good season. And like season 3, I like season 3 a lot. So like every season was always up to par. It was good. It lived up to expectations, like, you know, for the most part. And this one just like, especially with the pressure, I think, of being the last one. And
they had to, because they have an aging cast. No offense. All of them look like it could apply for, an auto loan and a house or a mortgage.
Well, and they set themselves up, like we talked about, with the ending of the 4th one. Just like if you end a show, a season like that, and then to bring it back, and you just don't really, you just gloss over. You kind of just write it over.
We'll talk about the plot holes, but yeah.
That's starting off on the wrong foot.
Time out. Was I entertained? Yes, I really enjoyed.
I was entertained
season
for sure.
5. I thought that the ending, leaving it open end. I don't like an epilogue. Sorry. For me, I like, you know, hey, let's bring it up to this climax and be done with it, you know. Not, hey, you know, 2 years later.
Well,
it's like,
I will say
that takes, for me, the mood out of it.
I think it was good. I think it was a little long, the epilogue. It could have maybe, instead of 45 minutes, maybe like 25 minutes, and may take the other 20 and put it more to the final battle and things.
I feel like Woj, I'd rather them leave on a high note, I guess.
But I do have specifics.
All right, go ahead.
Well, are we getting into?
Sorry, let's Woj, go ahead.
Conclusions or
or do we have some more commentary?
What's your next question? Sorry.
The conclusions that you draw from it to set up the next.
The spin-offs, I mean, until they happen, I mean, you know, they can say that they're going to happen. But
speculative.
Like, I know that the cartoon one's going to happen, the 85 Tales of 85.
Sure, but they're not going to
really a cartoon version.
And they also said that that will occur between episodes 2 and 3, seasons 2 and 3. So it's not going to be actually connected. It might tie in to the 5th season in some way, give some more exposition, but in general, you're not going to get the conclusion that I think we're all kind of mentioning here, is that's what left the finale short, that you didn't explain the things that needed to be explained. You can leave things running off and trails to like new stories and new leads and stuff like that, but I don't think we mentioned it yet, but let me just like throw this out there, is that like the general consensus here is that what we saw was absolutely fake. I mean, there's tremendous details to support that what we're seeing is an illusion. Right. No, what we're seeing is an illusion of what whoever wants us to see this, but is not what actually happened. There's things, continuity errors with the way that 11 is in her void with Mike. There's continuity errors in which there's suppression devices which don't allow people to use their powers if they have them. There's tremendous things. The way that Robin describes the aftermath, the way that the military just says you're good and like, hey, there's no problems here. Hey, Hopper, you killed like 38 people,
of our own men. You're
but
good.
War crimes against the United States of America. But
that's my biggest number one I had. What happened to the Army? Linda Hamilton, they just let everyone go, no questions asked. Like, 11's gone, so you're all good. And
I hate to say it, you'd never hear about them in the papers.
They fast
be
forward
gone.
2 years later, and they're like, what the hell happened? There was no point of her character. It was pointless. It was stupid. Like, why would they let, like, I think if you want to, like, no, like, if you want to, like, kill 11 off or whatever, sacrifice yourself, do it so that the army's also taken away or taken out or whatever. Like, and also,
Cataclysmic.
Also, too, what was their plan when they came back? Like, they're going to come through the upside down. The army's not going to be waiting for them. They're just going to be like, they're good.
Coming through the army portal.
Portal, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, the whole army, that's my biggest thing with
They would be collateral damage. They'd kill them all.
The army plot hole and glossing over that of like them just letting them go and fast forwarding 2 years later and like what happened to Linda Hamilton's character or why Hopper's just alive and the sheriff again and he's just back from
he's
the
appointed
dead.
The sheriff after being
he was dead for like 3 years
after murdering him.
It's like also they left many characters like Doc Owens, he's in the desert in Nevada. Season 4, what happened to him? He's just chained to the wall.
Can I also throw out that like they're graduating high school? It's like, how are you completing high school through all of these events? You've missed multiple days.
Max missed like 2 years.
Max missed a bunch of time, but it's like also like there are horrific events going on, and I mean just in general, it's not part of this plot hole, but like the overarching theme in just general that pisses me off is like. You can say latchkey kids. You can say, oh, they were kind of doing their thing in the 80s. The neglect of parents is unbelievable. Yeah. Like, across multiple different families, they're just like, we don't care. And then they come to them and go, like, your son's in trouble. And they're like, I doubt it. I don't think so.
Guys, if I could just read this really quick, this list I have of picky nits, if you will.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got a few.
Unanswered questions.
Sure.
I already mentioned what happened to the Army, Linda Hamilton. They just let everyone go, no questions asked. That's ridiculous. Why wasn't Will affected by the hurting and killing of Vecna and the Mind Flayer in the
Chopping
final
his
battle?
head off? Yeah.
They've shown the entire series that he's connected to them. In fact, season 2, the plot point of the end was like, we have to get them out of him.
Otherwise,
he will
die.
Kill him.
He will die.
But in the final battle, he's doing things and not affected one bit. I don't understand it at all.
We'll talk about
where are the Demogorgons, Demodogs, Demobats in the Abyss? There's nothing to protect the Vecna or the Mind Flayer. They're just not around anymore. How did the group get up the mountain so fast and try and kill the Mind Flayer?
Yeah, where the hell did they get these climbing abilities?
Now, we've already seen in episode 4, the army who are trained with weapons did nothing to these things. How the hell are any of their weapons going to do any damage to the giant kaiju Mind Flayer outside of maybe the flare gun and the gasoline because it lights fires?
Seems very childish.
I don't see how
know.
any
That's
of
like
that
kids playing with
work.
matches, yeah.
Had Will's coming out speech longer in the final battle. I put, did we need the Abyss? Is it better that the Upside Down was created by Dr. Brenner and a wormhole? I kind of didn't like the Abyss thing. I would have rather preferred the Upside Down and the regular thing. I think that it made it more complicated, confusing. What was the wax stuff that was dripping down and almost killed Nancy and Jonathan?
Never explained, and then it just magically stopped.
And it stopped doing it. I don't know what that is. Also, how did Steve and Dustin get up there to the room to get them out? They couldn't get up there. The stairs collapsed. He would have died.
Well, the goo solidified again.
So
we have no idea. So it solidified, and then they were able to apparently climb up. It doesn't make any sense.
Holly flying from the abyss, so she would have died if Vecna didn't bring her back up. She's gonna fucking hit the roof and be dead.
The properties
She's
of the
falling like
the properties of the dark matter aren't, or exotic matter, whatever the fuck they call it. It's not again well known.
Dark matter.
But even if she fell into that, I'm sure she's not feeling
gonna
great.
Be dead.
Yeah.
I get you. Also, a big thing. The Holly character, they retcon her age. She's supposed to be like 7. They make her like 10, and they change the actress.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Who?
Holly for the 5th season is a different actress, different age.
Yeah.
And then you got Luke. Go ahead. Sorry.
That was just in general. The Stranger Things is supposed to follow 83
to 89.
To 89.
Yeah.
So that means they're 5 years different than when they started. And obviously, the biggest thing is that it took 9 to 10 years of filming. So all of the characters look old as fuck.
When Max wakes up, should she be blind? She was blind in the end. In
should
4,
she be blind? And I hope you have the Hopper point.
Hopper point.
When she died.
Oh yeah, Hopper was
dead.
Yes.
And now Hopper is alive, and she's in the room. She's like,
"Hey, what's up?
What's up, dude? Oh shit, you're there. Cool."
It's like they forgot about Ted Wheeler this whole season. We don't hear anything, or see anything until the epilogue, till the graduation.
Yep.
Even though he also got mauled and whatever, and he's been a character. Now I'm gonna get to 11's death. Did it happen? I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, did Cal use her powers to produce the Mirage? My thing is, could her powers have worked that far? because they had a scene earlier where she's like, I'm out of range. I can't do it anymore. Clearly, I don't think she's in range. Also, she got shot and is probably dead. So
dying.
Both of those things, I don't know. Like
I'm not seeing it either.
I mean,
question
the fact that she is an illusionist kind of also brings in a seed of doubt. I can understand it with like, did what we see her die, was that real? Was that the thing? I could entertain that for a second. But then you're literally just burying the lead of like, well, then she would have had to been at least closer because when the exotic matter,
It's called dark.
when the exotic matter explodes because they
Sounds
put a
like
bomb in it, right?
Lube.
It actually is tearing away from the outside. Like it's weird. It's not a thing of like, oh, you just put a nuke in the middle and everything's materialized. It's like washing it away almost into the ether. So like
separating the cosmos.
It's weird that it's like, would Callie have been close? Would she have not? I just look at it as like, you're giving us a decision of like, is she dead or not? I have a real issue with certain things giving us the option of that as an audience when I'm like, you're the writer. You tell me what the fuck happened because this is your vision.
Now, lastly, let's say that Callie did do the mirage thing, the illusion. 11 was on the bus next to Mike. So you're telling me the whole time on the bus ride they never touched her? He didn't
Well,
notice
that's the thing is that as
she
soon
was
as you
a
touch the illusion,
it goes away. So I find it hard to believe that there was no like, hey, L and blah blah blah, and like,
or if it's again playing into the thing that the whole thing was not.
Now let's say
real.
she was.
I think she had to have died because if they ever try to pull any reenactment, she's gonna come back like looking like Jamie Lee Curtis and trading places, and it's like, I'm sorry, it's just not gonna.
Let's keep this. Let's
all right,
keep
let's
the
put a fine
division to within the realm.
Sure.
And then we'll explain and talk about stuff outside of the realm in the
let's say she
actual world with actors.
And hold on,
stuff.
in the 80s, guess what? Reagan's nuking that place immediately. There is no scientific experimentation. By 83, like within a few months in, is this having a negative result on our country? All right, let's send tactical nukes. Boom, 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 boom. Done. See ya. What do you mean?
Their whole thing is they explained they want to be used against the Russians. They're trying to get the technology for the Russians. The whole
take what you can.
Which also,
war.
there you go, Russia completely omitted.
Yeah, that whole thing
didn't
was
even
done.
happen apparently in the mind of season.
I'm just saying, eventually
Also,
they'd get rid of it.
No, it's
I don't think so.
kind of okay.
Anyway, but
any other
let's say 11.
plot hole?
Let's say 11 was on the bus, right? And because you see her them taking her away. How did she like get loose from the guard, or like the suppressors are on, so she's weakened?
Well, again, that plays into the fact that it's all an illusion. Is that her on the bus was an illusion, and the whole thing probably was a mask and a facade.
Sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Where was she then? Like, the Upside Down blew up. So where was she?
Well, okay, Ryan, I'm gonna say just in general the
she was crushed into a singularity.
The whole plot point of her disappearing as the bomb exploded, her talking to the mic, talking to Mike, talking to Mike in the void and all that stuff. All of that, again, I'm saying they masked that as an illusion, where that's a figment of Mike's imagination or somebody's imagination.
His thing was like she climbed through the Radio Shack, through the tunnel, and whatever.
Right.
But I was like,
I'm saying the initial part of it to play into that secondary part of like, oh, she's survived somewhere. It's all at the set of like Mike is just trying to make himself feel good, or somebody is. We don't know exactly all that, but I just look at it like they explain it away in the fact of like, maybe or maybe not. We don't know.
Yeah.
Very open to interpretation.
Two more points. Two more things. Now, while it was kind of nice that it wrapped up, also at the same time, it was a little like too neat and tidy. Like everybody, like, oh, we're gonna get married.
Everybody lives.
We're graduating. No one. There was no stakes, no sacrifices. It was kind of like, oh, really? Like, I don't know. And then finally, my last point, one of the best parts or the better parts of the show was Elle and Mike's relationship for most of the series. I didn't feel anything of it this season. They had no chemistry. maybe because in real life she's married to John Bon Jovi's kid now, and she didn't want to have as many
Mr. Jovine Boney.
intimate scenes or whatever. But that last scene where they're like in her mind, it was so like. I didn't feel it one bit. Like if you look at it,
I get what you're saying.
The still shot, his hands are like this on her hips, like they're not even like.
It is like
Lucas and Max feel like a real couple. They have
right.
chemistry, and I felt love and
I like Nancy and Steve kind of.
I did feel like that with them with the first 4 seasons, where it's like, oh, Mike and Elle, at least the first 3. I'm like, they were very like that was one of the better parts of the show.
Sure.
Like one of my favorite parts is the ending of season 2 at the dance where they finally are together and they have the police is playing and they have their first kiss.
Every breath you
that's one of my favorite
take.
moments of the show. Period. So like, to have it end like that was kind of like, oh man, it's unfortunate. So.
Yeah. All right. So those are Ryan's plot points. I very much am on board with every single one of them. But let's go to, you mentioned it like in terms of I'm just going to mention here again that there's a veil of so many plot points leads to 2 outcomes in my mind. It's either this show, this finale, and this season was horrendously written so much to the point that they just said, we don't care. We've gotten paid millions of dollars by Netflix, so this is what we're going to give you.
Yeah.
And it literally doesn't matter because we're ending the show and starting spinoffs, making more money. That's option A. Option B would be leading into this again, quote unquote, Conformity Gate. Hate the fucking title of that, but just a notion that there is something additional that is going to come out at some point to explain these gaping plot holes that literally has, in my honest opinion, it has now ruined the series for me, because it is very much factual. Like, you cannot keep these kids the way that they're playing. Like, they're supposed to be playing 18 and 19-year-olds. They're now 22, 25 plus in some cases.
Yeah, Lucas has got 5 o'clock shadow.
But I'm just saying, you cannot. I understand, like, they have to end. Their characters have to end.
Aged out.
And they're going to move on to new horizons and stuff like that. But, like,
sure.
It is going to end. I get that. But the option B would be that, like, this is so, it's written in such a way that they are going to explain something at some point. Here is additional context. Here is additional exposition. Those are the 2 camps. This Conformity Gate of, like, oh, something's going to come out on the 7th of January didn't happen. Oh, going to be the documentary is going to actually be like Nightmare on Elm Street, where it turns into an actual Freddy comes out of the camera, starts murdering people in real life. That didn't happen. I would just hope that...
I like the path he's down.
I would just hope that there has got to be something that explains something. It could be even as short as 10 minutes in my mind to just show that this was an illusion, this was not truthful. Because if you end it like this, and I'm being dead honest, I would honestly have this go down as one of the worst finales in the history of television. If they do not explain anything away, they just start in the next series and they go, now we're going to start Holly's journey and like go through that. Or if they do like the old bullshit of like, it was all a dream and a D&D campaign and none of it was real.
Well, I kind of alluded to that with showing the Stranger Things booklet at the end, right? Mm-hmm. They were kind of... I think that conformity bullshit is exactly what that is, bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, the weird reason is they wouldn't have ended it the way they ended it with the epilogue and all that if they were going to do another episode 9. That's just... You don't wrap it up as neatly or as semi-neatly as they try to if you're going to do that.
Sure.
Because again, you wouldn't do the epilogue. It would be like.
But do you not think though that the way in which they ended a show, in which every single season, a thing has died throughout the entire
or a person,
yeah. Right? You're not going to do that in the series finale.
I agree. They should have.
To kill something, some way, not a Demogorgon, but an actual living person.
Well, they killed 11, supposedly, or they didn't.
But,
that's the thing.
But that's the kind of cop-out is what I see, is like, Well, now you're leaving it up to interpretation. And it's like, but you can't. You shouldn't do that if this is the finale. This is who you want to know. Like, if you kill her, fine. If you don't kill her, fine. But make it more definitive. Because there's not
You're really hung up on.
But
this,
I'm saying
man.
there's not a bringing back like, and this is what I also will shout out is that really what kills me.
You like finished lines. You like crisp edges.
But this is what also kills me is that I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Duffer Brothers, the showrunners, came out and doing press junkets for the series finale, were asked all these questions. What happened to the Demogorgons, Demobats, Demo dogs?
Vecna wasn't expecting them.
Vecna wasn't expecting a sneak attack in the abyss, so they weren't there.
Even though he literally did the last season, season 4, they did the same thing, except in the upside down.
Also, why was there 12 kids? Why did they need 12? Oh, I don't know. He just randomly picked a number. It's like, dude, did you write the show or did you not write the show? Because this sounds like some again, feeding lines to keep us strung along, and why the Conformity Gate, I think, got so much traction is like, you wouldn't say this as a writer. Now, granted, if the Duffer Brothers are honestly just like, yeah, we don't care. You know what my bank account shows me right now? 30 million. I don't give a fuck. Fuck strange. Like, that's what it seems to me like.
You know
is
what?
that he's just saying like,
you could be right.
He's just saying, I don't care anymore. Next thing, I'm also getting paid $10 million to produce Stranger Things 28.
I mean, like, I think that I don't have a problem.
I love the tangent.
I don't have a problem with them leaving a thing on a note of like, is it or isn't it? If it's done well, like The Sopranos, like didn't. At first, people hated it, but now I think it ages well because it's like you actually you can put the pieces together, and it's like, okay, well, this is what happened with Tony, or this is what I believe based on this context clues and this and that. The problem with the Strange Things is like, if this were to happen, how could it happen? Because these machines, or because of this, or because of that? That doesn't make sense.
There's too many issues. If it's one or two, you can kind of get through it.
Well,
but I'm saying if there's 19 different things that you're like, why the fuck is this happening? It didn't happen in the beginning, and then
this ties into the whole wrapping up the army thing. Now, if there was a scene where it was like something happens with the army and they all die or go in the upside down, or I don't know, whatever, they're taken care of, right? And then Mike. And then you think 11's dead as well, right? But then Mike goes up to the machines and he's like, "Oh shit, they weren't on," or something, or like, it's kind of like The Dark Knight Rises, where it was like, where it's like, "Oh, he fixed the thing in the bat plane,
right?
So he actually could have survived."
Right.
Like, it makes sense.
Right.
Or it was like, like maybe they figured out like actually the suppressors didn't, or 11 figured out a way to counteract it or something, something where it was like, oh, okay.
To me, the thing is also that like they did it in the graduation ceremony to revert your mind back to the suppressors, to give you more doubt, to give you like another thought in that. And it's like, you wouldn't do that unless there should be doubt in that. Otherwise, the other thing I would just kind of say.
What thing are we gonna?
I mean, again, I got a couple last questions here, but I just would say though that the way in which any series now does this, where they are opening up avenues for other sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and things like that, I understand it. I'm not mad at that. I'm never mad at that because it's just the way that Hollywood goes now. I mean, it's the way that Hollywood's been going for fucking.
I think it's a case by case basis. There are examples of good things like Better Call Saul, and there are examples of things that don't work out. Like Cheers and Frasier. Those are both good.
What Disney did to Star Wars.
Breaking. Sometimes you just have too many spin-offs, too many things. But if it makes sense, like, I'll give it a shot. Like, I'll be intrigued if it looks good.
But that's the problem. They're going to go plan A with Woj, and they're going to capitalize on the fact that they have a good market base, they have a good following, and they're going to just spit out whatever they fucking can. And you're going to watch it because, well, you know what? I really enjoyed that's going to be the consensus.
I think they're going to do this spinoff. They already have the animated series.
I don't even think that's going to do that
and
well.
Then
it's like Beetlejuice animated series.
And they're also then going to have a live action one. Is already
Nancy, right?
Is coming as well, but it's just the
Nancy's like 25. What is she gonna be doing?
But I'm saying it's just the fact that like they're not continuing with these characters. That's what they said. Now, whether you want to believe that or not, I really firmly believe that they cannot keep these characters in it unless they go age down the line and they go, hey, they're now 30 plus.
I was going to say, I think if they wanted to, I always thought that maybe the last season was going to be this, but it turned out not to be. But if they wanted to do like a feature film down the road, kind of like a la It Chapter 2, where they all come back to the town and things are happening again, and
things are hunky-dory.
They relive, another day. The group has to get back together and do things. I could see that. Now, will it be good or not? I don't know. But would I be intrigued by that down the road? Probably, yeah. Like if it makes sense, if it's done well, yeah, absolutely.
All right, shout out of the canon. Would you have been more satisfied with ending season 4 and letting that be that?
No, you had to continue. The way they left it off, it was like, holy shit! Like
you needed a finale of a battle. And honestly, with Ryan's thing of like doing a movie, you could have done a movie right after season 4 to go like. It's just about us fucking shit up in the Upside Down. Whether people die or not, which I'll get to my next question here, it's like you just needed some closure. And to me, the entirety of the finale, the epilogue, was a fake closure. It was like a thing of make you feel good about like everything's happy and all this stuff. And it's like, but that's not how the show was. It didn't have the show feel for the first 4 seasons of like, hey, we made it. But we took some dings along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took a couple L's on the fucking shoulder, and people got hurt.
Because it felt real.
I mean, I was going to say, too, like, the first 4 seasons are so detailed and good, like, well detailed, like, where it's like things make sense. They thought it out. The characters'
well crafted, yes.
Well, or at least mostly. Characters' motivations and things. I have a problem with Eddie's death in season 4, personally. I think it was kind of pointless and dumb.
Yeah, he fucking went out there for
no reason. Yeah. Other than that.
Time out. I like that, so.
No, I know what they were going for, that was cool, sacrificing himself, but it had to make more sense. Should have been like, Dustin was going to get killed, and he fucking did that. Dustin was already safe. It didn't make sense. Anyway, I digress. Mostly, though, it was made sense, and things were lined up.
Everything was so goddamn logical, seasons 1 through 4, interconnected.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't you just end it on 4?
And made a way. That's why, again, this whole thing of an illusion becomes so real, is that, like, as a multi-million-dollar screenwriter or a showrunner, there is no way you could have left out this detail or explain away the military is like, 18 months go by, we're all good.
Hopper's back and alive.
Hopper's now a chief.
All right, I want shout out of the canon.
Legally considered dead.
Shout out of the canon. Who does not live in season 5 if you're the writer?
That was my next question.
Oh, sorry.
But anything before we move on to that? Okay. No, you're good, man. I would go this way. Who did you want to see die? And then who would have been like, this is the one that should have had it, would have been the best kind of finale of it? I would say want to die, like, for sure, Will, like, being like,
yeah, I'm fine with that.
With like his hive mind, like it eventually gets the most. Like I would have thought like that horrendous show of acting in the season 5 was like, you got to get done with that. But then also on top of it, like I didn't like dipshit Derek.
I thought he was a good comedic.
I didn't like
relief,
that
but,
they called him dipshit. First of all, but then second, I was like, he's just like an annoying kind of guy. Like I kind of also wanted him to go like obviously I don't think Netflix ever showed like a kid death or whatever. Like Barb was like kind of like a high schooler or whatever, but like that would have been one that I would have been like, all right, it makes sense. Like, okay, he ended up perishing, but whatever. So who is your wanting?
I mean, I think it would have made sense. Well, I think it would have sucked, but I think if the biggest impact would have been if you kill off Steve or Dustin, one of them, because they have the relationship and they're 2 of the most beloved characters. Like, either if you go with Dustin because he's been depressed about Eddie and stuff,
sure.
I was definitely thinking
couldn't take
Dustin,
it anymore.
Yeah.
Or you could have the opposite thing where it's like Steve is dead and now it's even going to hurt Dustin even more.
Right.
Or you could have had a thing with either Steve or Jonathan where it's like, hey, look after Nancy for me type of thing, but they ruined that when they had the breakup episode part.
The unproposal.
So that kind of took the wind out of those sails. they've already killed off Hopper like 2 times, so I don't really think you could do it again.
So in mine, Hopper's gone, Eleven's gone, Steve or Dustin, one of those two would be gone. You got Will gone. I think a good chunk. I hate to say it, like you're coming out maybe with half the dominoes, at best.
I don't.
I can see Nancy going.
I don't discount that would have honestly made sense because at the point where they did the pan shot, this is when I thought the show was a farce. If I'm being honest,
Sure,
is that they did the shot of when Will was coming out. They literally had a wide shot in which there was like 12 people there. And I was like, you have 12 people plus this guy. It's like 13.
God. Yeah, we didn't break that down. I forgot about that.
And then I also go into it as like, this is supposed to be a very like personal moment. And he's describing it to Vicky. Like saw her once. Erica, I think, is there. Why would
Callie's
she be there?
Callie wouldn't
all
have been in
these
my
people
version either.
If I could build on that, Woj, thank you. I actually forgot. That was a tremendous point that I thought when he was going to come out, it was originally going to be just his mom and Mike.
Yeah.
And that was going to be, that's
it would have been great.
Personal, and it made sense.
Smart.
And then maybe in the next episode, Mike and Will tell Dustin and Lucas or something, and it's just the boys.
It like trickles down.
Yeah, but it's not like, hey, everybody, let's all get in the room together, and I'm going to tell you that I'm gay, which is like, I have no problem with that. We already knew he was gay. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, wow, really? Like, ever since season 3, you could tell he was probably gay, which is, again, nothing wrong with it. But, like, to make
very Seinfeld.
To make it like an 8-minute thing, and then the final battle like a 6-minute thing.
It was 5:45 and 5:20.
Yeah, like it just, the scene, had emotion and weight, if you will, but it was a little over the top. It was a little too much.
Oh, you're right.
I would have liked it more, like Woj said, more personal. Was like it's either just Will and his mom and Mike.
Sure, that
Will
makes
and
sense.
Mike, Will and the boys. Hey guys, like
or Will and the boys, that'd make
like the whole thing he even said too, like the whole plot point of that Vecna's gonna use it against him. It never really came up except for when he himself brought it up. We didn't see like did we even see Vecna be like, "I'm gonna tell them, they're gonna laugh at you,"
secret,
or, you know, like. I didn't get that whole thing until he himself mentioned it. So
right.
I think
it was an injected plot point that
they were going to
need.
use it. They should have done a better job of fleshing it out.
Sure. And then the other side of it is who would have made, I think, the most sense of it. Like I said, who did you want to? To me, the person who made the most sense, like I think it's like kind of been done a couple times, but like in this sense, just of like the love story and also the fact that I'm just thinking about now, like the fact that Mike essentially does nothing. Christy and I were watching it the other day, and like anytime you notice it, like there is a murder happening, like right there, like right here, and everybody in the cast is just like, no. Not like running.
There's no sense of urgency whatsoever.
No sense of urgency. No running. No nothing. But like Mike is essentially the one guy who's like he's always throwing himself into harm's way with
right.
11.
He's
loves
an absolute liability.
But I'm saying like he always does this. But this would have been, I thought, a great one for him to go like, no, I'm gonna take a spike from Vecna to save her. And literally, like, that gets him in the end. Like, I thought that would have been great just to show, like, hey, man, I can't move a truck. I can't lift this thing, but I'll literally give my life for you.
Or how about, like, 11 is already dead at this point, and then Mike saves Will. And then, like, that's a huge relationship, too, Will and Mike, right?
Sure.
So that would also be meaningful. It's like, you sacrificed yourself for me, and that
and
whole thing.
I'm sorry, I could also just throw out the missing plot point of, like, there's also secondary characters like Murray and fucking other people that are just like omitted from the.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, Doc.
Well, that's a big net to cast to actually go over each individual.
But no,
like
they
fate.
left people like Doc Owens, Paul Rogers' character. Last time we see him was in season 4 in the desert, handcuffed to the table, and then we never see him again. What happened to him? Is he dead? Is he just sitting there? Did the army take him back? It was like he was a big character. We never. What happened with Argyle from the season 4, the California?
I loved Argyle.
What happened with Enzo, the Russian guard who helped out Hopper?
I liked Enzo too.
Like I thought they were going to be a part of this season, and they just weren't. And it was like, okay, they didn't come to America, or they left, or
that's why I
what
put it
happened?
out there. Leave it at season 4. I'd rather leave it on a cliffhanger.
You can't leave it on season
why?
4.
Why not?
Because the whole Earth erupted.
It's too big of a cliffhanger.
There was no way you could end it on that.
How dare you?
Dude,
Yeah.
the Earth split open. I mean, they granted they did gloss over, but you
As
had
long
to
as
continue
you could have left it on cliffhanger if you did a movie and said like,
Or-
Okay,
hey,
well,
yeah.
maybe that. Maybe
we are
that'd be
doing a
fine.
movie and that will explain everything.
Also,
but-
like, this is the last season, and you have 3 years to do it. Make the episodes as long as you fucking want. The last episode could be 4 hours. It could be 5. It could be 10. It doesn't matter.
pump the brakes. No one's gonna watch a 10
yeah,
hour.
they would.
Dude, they 100% would.
100% would.
I'm
This
just
was
saying.
such a cultural phenomenon that I'm like, you should have gone balls to the wall. You had $400 million. I would honestly pose the question of like, did you run out of money? Did you run out of money?
Netflix has so much cash.
I think
it's unreal.
they
They had a
just.
budget of $450 million or something like that. But like, there is a certain point where I look at it and go like, it looks like you chose the cheap way out. Now, I want to say this. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that the Duffer Brothers and Netflix come out with something that is going to explain away something in some fashion or whatever. I don't see it happening, though.
No.
I think they really just copped out and said, hey, we're
I
going to
got
wrap
paid.
on this.
I don't know if it was intentional or like.
Everybody lives,
or
great stuff,
if
bye-bye.
If it was effort or whatever, but like they seriously underestimated the importance of details in the final season and especially the finale.
I have an idea. Sorry.
Where they just should have made sure their ducks were in a row, that everything made sense. It's like you could, like Breaking Bad is like I think to me like the perfect series finale. Everything made sense. It lined up, it wrapped up all the questions, and still
Breaking
could
Bad,
have still could have left things open if
that's
you
a
wanted.
diamond, man. That
I'm just
one's
saying,
nailed
but
it,
like
yeah.
Stranger Things had that potential where it was
Had
like,
the potential, yeah.
where it was
yeah.
that good of a show, where if it stuck the landing, it could be mentioned among these shows. Now I don't know if it will be. I still enjoy the shit out of it, but going back to rewatching now, it's gonna be like season 5, like it's gonna be that in the back of my head.
Okay, so I have a thought on this, and I think this is more of like the executive producers or Netflix maybe putting their influence on this. I think the writers think about Misery. We've all seen Misery, right? Hey, I'm putting together a final book. It's going to be a nice, concise end to this character, this person, this story. I don't think Netflix allowed that. I really think that these writers probably had an avenue to end this correctly, and they're like, well, no, if you end it, then we can't make more money off of it. Have you ever thought about the fact that I think that someone above them was basically saying, hey, you need to leave a bunch of back doors open for us to kind of capitalize on this for future gains? Guess what? It's a business. I guarantee that these writers itself could
for
put together
sure
a nice definitive point to this series, and they're like, go back to the writing board because this doesn't give us enough options for future, projects.
I think you're on the right track, Bobby. I think that they really were influenced by something to say we need more avenues to really open this up. I mean, there's this whole part about the Stranger Things play that is literally like it's a huge plot point, yet they don't explain anything of it, and there's like a Netflix hour and a half documentary or something like that that like gives you some of this
behind
exposition,
the scenes,
but it's like, if you don't see the play though, you don't know what the fuck is happening.
Also, we didn't mention it. How is Henry the same age as Joyce and Hopper in high school? It doesn't make any sense. Isn't he like much older than them or younger?
He was
or
in
younger
high
than,
school
or younger
in the
sorry,
50s.
Henry
younger
looks
than
like
them,
he
younger
could
than
be
them.
like 35 to 40.
In-
Hopper and Joyce are clearly in their 40s, if not 50s.
In season 4, the whole flashback with 11 and the Rainbow Room was in 1979, and Henry looks like he's maybe 27 or
25 to
20,
30, yeah.
Yeah, so Joyce and Hopper are clearly older than him.
Yeah, but if he's projecting
that
himself
same-
at a certain age,
But I'm
Stop
saying
projecting.
that's only 4 years before the pilot of the show.
Yeah.
And they're clearly much older than him. So how did he go to
Yeah,
high
it
school
makes-
with them? It
makes
doesn't.
no
I don't
sense.
get it.
all right, another plot point.
But yeah, I mean, again, to me, I am thoroughly just disappointed in how they took this thing that was like, hey, this is like a huge deal, a huge like, hey, we have 10 years, we have 2 years to film this thing, and like it just fell flat. I think Conformity Gate is exactly the reality of people going, this show was so terrible as a finale that there's no way a Netflix executive would have signed off on that, going like, cut, print, check the gate, moving on, we're good.
They don't got the balls. That should have been cool though if they did. That would have been a shocking. Like if that actually would have happened, like another episode. I mean, if it was good, obviously that's
Sure,
good.
obviously, it's good.
But that would have been a hell of a thing to try.
I mean, again, I just feel extremely.
In my view,
I just feel extremely frustrated with like I spent so much of my life. I watched.
I spent so much of my life.
For real, dude. Like when the new season would drop. Like
I'd
when I
binge all
knew
of
the
them. I'd
date,
binge
I
all
would
of them.
redo
Yeah,
each season
same.
prior to. So I
Oh my
watched
God, that's
season
a hell of a
1,
commitment.
I did
then
too.
2. I saw season 1 and 2.
Same.
Season 3, 1, 2, 3.
Same.
Season 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Season 5, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You
5.
don't just do a quick recap
No,
of.
man.
All
I got all the juice. I got all of
Oh
the
my
squeeze out of
God.
it.
I did the same thing.
And I'm sitting there.
I
and-
can't believe you
and
guys
if
are
I'm
the
being honest,
rewraps.
and if I'm being honest, man, we're gonna wrap it up with this soundtrack
Yep.
kind of clip part.
Purple Rain, yeah.
They use Purple Rain as this like finale song that in so many of their other finales have been such a great fucking song, elicits
Metallica.
emotion, and you're just like, oh yeah, like they did it right. And all that. Ryan, you brought it up. You said like kind of missed the mark. I agree because they didn't have the emotion throughout the season 5 for me to like really be like, oh, I think this is it. I was like the whole time I was like, this doesn't seem real. Terrible acting, or they made him.
Now, this is the less iconic song, but wouldn't it have made more sense like the final countdown or something like that? Or it's like, like, is that Two in the Nose maybe? I don't know, but like, something more up tempo, more epic, more of like, this is the final battle, and like, I don't know. Something
Like what? Wham or something?
No, I
or-
said like the final countdown. Like
No, I know that.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. I
I don't know. I'm sure there are other better songs as well, but did you guys, before we wrap it up,
Yeah, that's last question.
did you want to like power rank the seasons, like in your own opinion? I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go 1, 4, 3, 2, 5.
I got 1, 3, 4, 2, 5.
Yeah, I'm actually on Woj's thing too.
You guys like the mall season better than
I
the
do.
Vecna
I really
season?
do. So yeah, I'm with Woj on that.
Well,
Now,
I mean, the first one is just
that
I
one's
think-
out of the
I think
equation.
honestly, the first one was to me it was perfect.
Absolutely.
it was perfect.
so
in the
now it's
sense-
basically who's getting silver.
See,
Yeah.
I think the fourth season is pretty damn close to the like. I think the first season obviously is definitely the best, like A plus. But the fourth
No,
season,
Woj nailed it.
Fourth season to me is like an A.
It does a
It's
great
still-
job. Like I said, could you flip
It's a
those
low
two?
A.
Sure.
It's a low
because
A, for
because
sure.
it brought back the horror intention
Horror.
of the first one,
say it wrong.
and the mystery. We
Yeah,
didn't know
fucking
what
whore.
Vecna was and things. As much as I love season 3, it's a little more colorful and I don't know, not as mysterious necessarily. Like there is some, but it's also more. I don't know. I still love season 3. I'm just saying, but like that's why I like season 4 a little
All right,
more.
fair.
I
All right.
got you,
I think
man.
we did a pretty damn good recap.
Yeah.
You know what, man? Again, I needed to do this just for my own
needed.
psyche.
Yeah, I did too.
Because I was talking with a lot of people throughout it, and I was just like, "What'd you think of this?" And every time they said something, I was like, "I fucking know, man! Like, why? What happened?"
So
there?
is season 5 failure to launch, essentially?
No,
right?
I just think that it's either A, they literally just are too shitty of writers and too shitty to care.
I doubt
Or
that.
they're B, like, hey, we're setting this up for a big reveal at some point. Years down the road, they'll be like, just so you know, it was all a mistake. And even then, it's going to feel terrible. It's
Executive
not-
producers,
it's
I
not-
guarantee, created a bunch of back holes.
But I'm
or-
saying, like, even if they do option B and, like, 10 years later, they're going to
I
go,
hope
like,
not.
just so you know, Mike was in a trance the whole time. I'm going to go, like, that's awful. That's like a cop-out of...
Happy Gilmore 2.
Jesus Christ, that was a terrible film. Sorry. I love
Not
Adam
good.
Sandler.
No,
I
I'm
love
just
Adam
saying,
Sandler.
if
but
they
that
try
was
to pull
fucking
that crap,
bad.
it'll feel like Happy Gilmore 2.
I mean, I don't know if there's anything worse than Happy Gilmore 2, if I'm being honest. No, there's definitely worse movies, but we're going to digress down
Yep.
a whole fucking rabbit hole.
All right,
but,
let's
you
wrap
know,
it up.
hey, man, I appreciate you guys chatting it up about Stranger Things. It was
Love it.
It was a necessary kind of rite of passage.
I still love it. Just
Get it out.
disappointing. The last.
I still love
season.
it. It just kind of ended on a bummer note for sure.
And I mean, I've stopped dating Millie Bobby Brown about like 6 months ago. I know that she started adopting a kid because, the loss of me forced her to, seek out different relationships. So, Millie, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Get over it. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Okay. Whatever that was.
In my wild world, no, I know I'm old as shit. I was
Yeah,
just
all right, Cat Stevens there. All right. So let's
Cat Steve.
button up segment 2. episode 119. We're going to have the Royal Tenenbaums. That's my choice. As this movie review coming after. Check it out. Wes Anderson. It's a good flick.
Part 2 done. We appreciate you guys. Keep watching. We got a lot more shit to come.
So much goddamn content coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.